Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for MMA fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and I'm here to get you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. In this series, I'll be watching tape and providing my real time analysis on how I think the fights are going to go. I'll be watching for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies, pairing that with Fighting Stats' exclusive UFC stats not available anywhere else to give you a prediction on how I think the fights are going to go and ultimately who's going to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. All right, so I'm your host, Art C. We're going to be breaking down the UFC 295 main event between Jiri Prochazka and Alex Periera. They fight for the Light Heavyweight Championship belt here, so the vacant belt. So we taped, if you missed it, we taped the Jiri Prochazka side, including some of his time in Risen, and then we taped the Alex Periera side in terms of how he entered the UFC and how he made his UFC run. So just to recap, if you missed it, Jiri Prochazka, what I really noticed from him is that he has a granite chin. He is taking some big shots in some of these fights. So he is definitely hittable, but he can eat these big shots. Very unorthodox. What I saw early in his fight, if we go back through the tape, I'm just going to go refresh in terms of his career. He fought over in Risen. He fought Brendan Hazley, the semi-wrestler there. Wrestler fell out of the cage a couple of times, but Hazley able to get in a takedown, actually able to get a rear naked choke in. Very deep, you're able to fight out of it. But the lack of the ground game from Jiri kind of on display in that fight. Nonetheless, he ends up winning that fight in round one, which is a 10-minute round. Then he fights Mohammed King Mo Lal. Again, at the tail end of his career, Mohammed King Mo tends to, I think, fade, and sort of his chin sort of fell off a cliff there at the end of his career, but he wins by knockout in the third round after Mohammed sort of gassed out. Mohammed was able to land a couple of outside low kicks that really started to add up, so that's worth noting. Then he fights Fabio Maldonado, again, at the tail end of his career. Had been durable most of his career, and then ended up getting knocked out in round one. Fought CB Dalloway, another wrestler, again at the end of his career. These are not really great wins, but there's some notable names in there, some like old names back in the day. But again, these guys aren't anything to write home about. Then he enters the UFC, though. He takes a big step up against Volkan Ozdemir. I think he was opened up as a dog. Volkan already top 15, so he took a big step up, fought Volkan Ozdemir, actually knocked him out with a clean right hand, knocked him out cold. Again, not a lot of people doing that to Volkan Ozdemir, only 2 losses in his career by knockout, and Jiri was able to finish him, put him out. Then he fights Dominic Reyes. Everybody's seen the spinning elbow. Reyes able to land some big shots in that fight. Again, Volkan Ozdemir in the last fight before, too, ended up landing some big shots, but Jiri just able to eat them. Circle back through a spinning back elbow, knocked Dominic Reyes out cold. And then in his last fight, one to remember, a 5-round fight versus Glover Teixeira, goes back and forth and actually finishes and submits Glover Teixeira in the last 30 seconds of round number 5, gets the rear naked choke without the hooks in, and wins the belt. But then he, I believe, injures his shoulder, has to go off for a while, and then now he is back after surgery, taking on Alex Periera. In the Alex Periera fight, or in this tape, he's only 8-2 in his MMA career, but a lengthy kickboxing career, best known for knocking out Israel Adesanya a bunch of times in kickboxing. So when he entered the UFC against Andreas Michailidis, Michailidis right away went for the grappling. Alex Periera showed some decent hips, able to keep the fight standing, and actually lands a clean flying knee, knocks out Michailidis out cold. Then he moves on to a fellow striker, Bruno Silva, and Bruno Silva is a decent striker as well, and Bruno Silva was the one, again, looking for the grappling exchanges. Actually pretty close. The fight ended by decision, unanimous decision. Then he takes on the current middleweight champion, Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland does what he does. He comes forward, the Philly shell, and then Alex Pereira able to land that left hook early in round one, knocking out the current middleweight champion. So that is a feather in the cap for him. He went on to fight Israel Adesanya for the middleweight belt. Again, that one was a 5-round fight. That one went all the way to round 5, with Israel winning in the last round. With Alex Pereira winning in the last 5th round. Again, Israel was a little bit rocked on the fence. Referee stopped it without the knockdown. He was hurt. So, and then they rematched. Israel came back, rematched, and then Israel was the one that found the knockout. Poatan had him up offense, throwing some big hooks, and then Israel ducked under through the right hand that landed clean. Worth noting that Israel was able to land that punch, that same right hand at the end of round 1 of the first fight, and then it's the same right hand at the in round 2, which knocked down Alex Pereira in the rematch. And then, so he finally gets fed up with middleweight. He moves up to light heavyweight and fights Jan Blachowicz. Not much to take out of that fight. I think, that fight was at altitude, first fight at light heavyweight. I think the size difference really made a difference, but Jan was the first one to gas out in that fight after grappling in the first round for most of that first round, and then tended to slow down in rounds 2 and 3. I thought had the fight been at sea level and Jan had a little bit better cardio, that Jan would have easily won that fight. And so that's where we're at. A little bit of a recap to bring you up to speed. So now Jiri takes on Alex Pereira. How I see the fight going is that Jiri and Alex Pereira are both going to open up orthodox. Now, we've seen early in Jiri's career, he puts a lot of weight on that lead foot. So in orthodox, that's that left leg. Against another orthodox fighter in Alex Pereira, he is going to beat up that lead leg with the outside low kick, the right side. We've seen Jiri not really able to check many low kicks. He got beat up a little bit by Mohamed King Mo Lal. I think CB Dalloway landed a couple of big right outside low kicks as well. And then so more recently, Jiri's been switching to southpaw because I think it's because of the leg kicks just not being able to change. But he is it's only been recently has he been really moving to southpaw. We saw actually Israel Adesanya in the second fight use a lot more southpaw against Alex Pereira. Again, Alex Pereira stands in orthodox, loves that outside low kick, being a kickboxer. So look for that, especially the way that Jiri puts a lot of weight on that lead foot. The reason that he's doing is that some fighters will likely, when they're fighting a counter striker, they'll throw the jab expecting the counter to come back, and then they're trying to counter the counter. So it's the 1 and then the 3. In this fight, Jiri's more baiting the jab by putting the weight on the front foot, putting his head forward, and then he's hoping that the jab will come forward and that he's quick enough to move his head back, and then he can counter with the right hand, a 1-2 sort of thing. So Jiri's been one to sort of have that longer reach where he's able to do that. In this fight, the reach is about the same. I think you're playing with fire, sticking your head out there against Alex Pereira. Again, Jiri is not most defensively sound person. He is definitely hittable, but it's just again, his chin has been on display. One thing I did want to bring up here, if I go into the fighting stats dashboard, red I have as Jiri, blue I have as Alex Pereira. One thing I did really notice is that Jiri, 91% head target, 8% body target, and really less than 1% leg target. When Jiri is fighting, he's really only going for the head. Hasn't really thrown many leg kicks. I know recently he started the leg kicks, or his kicks that he does throw is more up the middle. He likes to throw a feint kick and then come over with the right hand. He's thrown that a couple of times. Whereas Alex Pereira really mixes it up a little bit. He has 54% head target versus 26% to the body and 20% leg. So he is using all of that. He's looking at everything, head, body, and leg. Works in the body kicks as well. So that is one thing. But again, I think the chin of Jiri is going to make the difference here a little bit. So we saw in the Alex Pereira fight, in the Bruno Silva fight, he's throwing a lot of single shots, a lot of just jabs, a lot of kicks, and not really loading up on a lot of stuff. As soon as Israel Adesanya was coming in closer, or as soon as Alex Pereira likes to go forward, then he's sort of piecing these combos together. But in the early rounds, he tends to really only throw a couple of one strike combos. They're not really combos because they're one strikes. But again, I think you're just having that chin, being able to stand at a distance, standing at range. It probably doesn't knock him out early. I think if the knockout does come, it's probably accumulation of leg kicks for Alex Pereira, or wearing down Alex Pereira, sort of thing. Um, Other thing I wanted to note that's coming in is that Israel Adesanya did have some success holding Alex Pereira against the cage. Now, again, Israel Adesanya is not really a strong middleweight. He's not really known for his physical presence. He's more of a rangier striker, but he's able to hold Alex Pereira for lengths of time against the cage with double underhooks, leave him up there. Alex Pereira is pretty much known for the clinch. Well, not known for the clinch, but he has nice knees in the clinch, does well. But up against the cage, he wasn't really able to circle off, and I worry that that might be the case against Jiri. Jiri might just be the bigger, stronger fighter. Again, Alex is moving up from middleweight to lightweight, light heavyweight, whereas Yuri's been at light heavyweight for most of his career, fights some stronger guys. I assume that he might have the strength. Again, Alex Pereira hits like a truck, but again, this is a step up and up a weight class. He wasn't able to finish Jan Blachowicz, and Jan Blachowicz was very gassed in that fight, only being a 3-round fight. So I do question Alex Pereira's knockout ability. I know he landed some clean shots, so able to knock out Israel. Again, that was in round 5. In the rematch, he got knocked out himself. So I think it's a little bit overrated. I'm not, I'm going to sound silly for that, because Alex Pereira has crazy power, and that left hook is something, that's a thing of beauty. But Yuri being hittable, he'll probably take a couple of shots. I think if it turns into a brawl, I sort of favor Yuri just because he's so unorthodox. Sometimes when you have a technical fighter against an unorthodox fighter, it's just the difference in forward pressure, the chin, the ability to eat it. If they start trading punches or trading shots, I kind of favor Yuri to eat the shots and trade one back. And we saw Pereira get knocked out or get rocked twice from Israel. Honestly, that nothing to scoff about. Israel is a great striker, one of the best strikers. So not putting a lot of weight on that. But again, we haven't really seen it. Now, the grappling edge, and I didn't really talk about the grappling stuff, but it's a big question mark. We saw Yuri have some trouble off of his back, in early in his career, later in his career. He wasn't afraid to go to the ground though with Glover. He did hold his own against Glover and actually win by submission. So that 5-round fight was a heavy pace round. Glover in on a mount. I think Glover had mount a bunch of times, able to rain down some top control. Yuri not really able to get out. So again, the chin's on display, but Yuri able to go 5 rounds with Glover. Alex Pereira went 5 rounds with Israel Adesanya, but I think that fight was a little bit slower pace. He took round 4 off. It was a striking affair, which Alex is used to. If it goes to the ground, I don't know. Glover, like, Alex Pereira is training with Glover, and they just fought. So Glover might be telling him some tricks. Here's what I did. I found some success in the mount. Maybe Yuri's not really expecting it, and he's loading up, and then Alex might be the one that's going for the takedown. I doubt it. I don't think it happens. I think it probably stays standing for most of the fight, but you never know. I don't think Yuri's the one that's going to be fishing for a takedown either. It looks, from what I can see, that he's going to try to keep the fight standing, working on his takedown defense, working to get the legs over. Maybe if there's a knockdown, and then he'll run into the guard and try to finish him. I just don't see very many submissions on either side, so it's a tough fight. I think it's very close. If it closed, the striking battle. So let's go through the numbers. I'm going to run it, see if we can figure out a play here. I'm going to go to my bankroll bet tracker. We're going to type in Yuri here on the blue side. We're going to go Alex Pereira on the blue side, and then we're going to go Yuri on the red side. So what do we think? We're going to clear these so that we start fresh. Alex Pereira to win by TKO. A 5-round fight. I think that comes pretty often. It's probably most of his win equity. 1 in 3 fights. Yeah, I'm inclined to say 35%. 30%, just okay. We'll go with 30%, knowing that Yuri has a chin, able to withstand some shots. We'll leave it at 30%. Alex to win by submission. Again, it's possible. I'm going to put 5% because it's possible. You never know. Glover, I've heard that Alex Pereira has a very good guillotine. That would require Yuri to shoot in for a takedown. I don't know if he gets it, but maybe in a scramble, something like that, he's able to lock it up. We'll leave it at 5% now because it's a big unknown. Alex to win by decision. I mean, it is possible with Yuri having a chin, with Alex staying on the outside, probably the more technical striker. Yuri being very hittable. I'm not going to rule it out. I think that it could get there. We're going to say maybe 10%, 10, 15%. Let's go 10% for now and see where we end up. Yuri by KO. He's flatlined some big guys, some strong guys. Alex Reyes, pretty durable, flatlined him. Volkan Ozdemir, pretty durable, flatlined him. And then a bunch of regional guys that, again, at the end of their career, nothing crazy, but he does have power. He's the more natural, I guess, light heavyweight. I wouldn't say he has the power is probably equal between the two. So I think if you give Alex 30%, I'm going to give Yuri 30% just by default. Win by submission, same thing where you really haven't seen it. I'm inclined to say 0%, but I think, you got to give it 5%. I think he was in on a guillotine recently, or his takedown defense involves a guillotine. So I'm going to leave it at 5%, just a flag. I think it cancels out with the Alex Pereira by submission. And then I think win by decision. I think Yuri has the ability to win by decision. I think if he keeps it upright, he stays on the outside. I think it might be, we'll go with 10% as well for Alex. So we're at 45. We're missing 10%. I'm going to add 5% to the Alex side for winning a decision. Or sorry, 15% to there. Just because I think Yuri's chin is going to keep him in the game a little bit longer. I think the outside low kicks from Alex Pereira could slow Yuri down a little bit. I give him a better chance to win by decision there. And then I have another 5%. I'm not willing to lay it on to Alex Pereira by TKO. Yuri, I don't think I can give him better than Alex in the stand up there. So maybe it is a Yuri decision that gets the extra 5%. It's either between Yuri by decision or Alex by TKO or KO. Let's go Alex by TKO. Because Yuri's very hittable. He hasn't really fought anybody with the striking prowess of Alex Pereira. Yeah, we'll say that. I think Alex has more ability to get to decision. So to recap, 35% Alex win by TKO sounds about right. 5% by sub, probably close to zero, but we'll leave that 5%. And then 15% to win by decision for Alex Pereira, giving him a total of 55% or a line of minus 122. On the Yuri side, we have 30% to win by TKO, 5% to win by submission, and 10% to win by decision, leaving him at 45% overall, which lines it at around plus 122. I think that feels about right. I think that the fight could be a toss-up. I'm not really willing to lay a lot of juice on the fight. I'll probably take any dog that gets there. If Alex Pereira was the dog, I'd probably take that side. I think if Yuri's on the dog, I might lean that side as well. Not confident on really either side. I'm looking maybe at a total here. I'm looking at does not go to decision, is I have it at 75% or minus 300. Goes to decision being 25% or plus 300. I think we could probably get a decent line. I think a lot of people are going to say no decision just based on the striking, the power of both guys. On paper, it looks like two knockout artists. But I think in a 5-round fight, if it's a slower pace, we've seen both guys go 5 rounds and sort of go past expectations of where they thought that fight would have ended. We thought the Glover fight would have ended inside the distance for Yuri. We thought the Israel Adesanya would have ended inside the distance, and they barely got there within the last 2 minutes of round 5. So I would not be shocked at all if the fight goes to decision. I just need plus 300, I think, or better. So I will keep an eye out on those lines. Win inside the distance, things like that. Sub only, yeah. So these are my numbers. I think we can find something there. Again, I'm not too confident. I may end up on the Yuri side, maybe for like half a unit. Nothing going too crazy on that side. I just think I don't want to say more ways to win, but I favor the chin. I favor the power on that side. I think that he might have better cardio on that side. Alex Pereira to win is going to have to land that left hook in a long combo or have to work the leg kicks a little bit. Definitely possible. Yuri doesn't really check any of them and he goes to the head. Alex used to fighting in a kickboxing match, used to moving his head around. So, yeah. I saw a line today actually opened up on Bet Online, the over 1.5. I might consider that. Again, Alex Pereira's shot selection. A lot of single shots. Jiri, nice chin, stays on the outside, bounces around a little bit. Trying to bait the counter. So both guys kind of counter punchers. You might see a slower paced first round, especially for 5 rounds. So you're going to be clenching the whole first round there, but that might be worth a look. I'll take a look when more props open up, but those are my lines. Hopefully something juicy comes out, and I'll be the first to let you know. I hope that you found that insightful. My name is Art C. Again, this is Fighting Stats. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Okay, guys, well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you smash the like button, hit the subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we put out new content. Again, my name is Art C. You can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Electrocute. This is Fighting Stats, the ultimate source for exclusive and in-depth MMA statistics and best bets. We'll see you guys at the window.